Hey folks, and how are you doing today? Now, welcome to this episode of The Grow Show, where today I'm going to be joined by my guest, Marie Brobyn. Now, we're going to be talking about wellness and we're going to be giving you as loads of stuff during the interview, but also we're going to be talking about her backstory, her journey, and then we're going to give you three things that you need to look out for and three things that are going to help you on your day-to-day kind of life. It's going to be a really cool episode. There's going to be loads of cool takeaways. And without further ado, let's get Marie in because I don't want to talk. I want her to talk. How you doing, Marie? How you doing?
Hi, yeah, I'm really good. Thanks, Gary. Good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
No, it's been a long time coming, and I'm really glad that we've managed to sync our diaries and we've got together. So, for the people who don't know who you are, just tell us who you are and how you help people on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Yes. So I'm Marie Brobyn, as you very eloquently pronounced my name. And I am a well-being coach. I'm also an acupuncturist as well. So I've been for the past 12 years helping people to resolve their health problems with natural solutions in a holistic way. So that means I'm looking at the person in their entirety, not just treating symptoms, but treating the body, mind, and spirit in all three ways, so treating them all together. And really that is something I'm very passionate about, natural healing. And you know how I'm helping people right now is I'm especially helping business owners, interestingly, with managing stress, clearing stress, and finding moments or creating moments of calm and peace so that they can increase their energy and productivity. Haven't met anybody yet that doesn't want more energy and doesn't want to be more productive. That's how I'm doing it. I guess one of the things I just want to say is what makes me different is that I am using Eastern methodology and Eastern philosophy to help solve Western medical problems. So I suppose that's my point of difference, if you like.
Nice. And actually, before we get crack on the interview, Eastern and Western kind of medicine is something that I've heard in the past. Never fully understood the kind of differences. How would you explain to someone the difference between Eastern and Western, just so we've got a good baseline of your skills and what your techniques look like?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. So in the West, for example, we are or doctors are trained to treat symptoms. So they look at treating, I don't know, they treat the body like a machine in component parts, and they will develop pharmaceuticals, surgical interventions, and other interventions to treat specific parts of the body once somebody has actually got a problem, got an issue. In Chinese medicine or Eastern medicine and philosophy, we start by looking at the individual's own healing system and promoting the benefits of accessing and using that healing system to prevent illness in the first place. So that's the two differences. Is one is treating symptoms once somebody's already ill or has disease, and Eastern philosophy and medicine is helping the individual to understand the power that they have within themselves to heal naturally. And it also encourages that person to take responsibility for their own health and well-being and to be well rather than wait for illness. And they do that through using the nature and the universal energy that surrounds us to help people to relate to how they can do that. So hopefully that makes sense.
No, it does. It completely does, and actually sounds like a much rounded way of doing it. You know, instead of waiting for something to happen, you're preventing it, which means that,
Absolutely.
and not just preventing that, actually taking accountability for how your health is, which actually sounds, when you put it like that, quite straightforward.
It sounds very straightforward. However, we've become, I think in the West, we've become used to having somebody solve some of our health issues for us, or an institution like the NHS, GPs. We have become reliant almost upon having this service to help fix us when something goes wrong. So I think it's a cultural society sort of mindset of maybe, so we've stepped away from the home remedies even that we had like 70, 80 years ago before the NHS, and we've become so used to having it there. And it's a wonderful service, but we all know that it's in difficulty. We all know that it is struggling. And despite all the pharmaceutical interventions and things that are there through the NHS, we still have massive problems with health. You know, COVID is brought that to the forefront, but also the mental health crisis that we find ourselves in. It's not being resolved. The answer isn't there with the NHS, clearly, otherwise we would have had the answer by now. Yeah, so that I think that's the thing for me. We need to be awake to that, I think, and understand that we do have to take responsibility for our
Mm.
own health and well-being. And even though it sounds straightforward, it's not always easy because the conditioning and the culture that we're in doesn't necessarily support that. We're not sort of taught that or educated in school around that or anything like that. So it's a case of, I see part of my role is to educate people in ways that are different to having to rely on the NHS, pharmaceuticals, and things that have their place. Don't get me wrong, they are very important, but we don't need to wait for them we don't need to rely on them to fix us. We want to thrive, don't we? I mean, we're here.
Mm.
How many times, we don't know how many times round we've got, but as far as we know, we've got this life and we want to thrive. We don't just want to lump through the day. We want to feel vibrant, good energy. We want to enjoy life. We want to be happy. We want to be peaceful. And I do believe that we have all the answers here. And I help people to reconnect with that.
I love it. Really love it. And this is why I wanted to get you on the show because pretty much most of what you just said, I've had conversations with people around those kind of topics for quite a while, but
Mm,
probably nowhere near in depth. The conversation I had last week, which sprang to mind, was with a two business owners and one non-business owner. They're employed, and it was all about the kind of the hustle culture, about doing. I think it was. I think it was prompted by someone putting a post on Facebook, like most conversations are, saying about working. They were really proud and really excited to hit the 60-hour work week this week or something like that. And I'd just come off an event. I was knackered. My mind wasn't in a kind of a good place because I spent the whole weekend really focused, and my body just had to chill a little bit. So there was someone who's working 60 hours a week, and there was me not actually working at my full ability whatsoever, but trying to recover during that time. And it probably took me about 10 days to fully recover from that weekend event, which included an afternoon going to the cinema to watch a film, which was already pre-planned because I knew I needed to take a break.
yeah,
But you had one business owner saying, "Yes, I'm celebrating working 60 hours this week." There's me thinking, "Do you know what? I'm probably working 15 hours this week, and I'm happy with that." Yeah, that's my body
absolutely.
recovering for it. And I do agree with people having to work those 60-hour weeks sometimes and then have a recovery week. And it can happen. But I
Yeah.
know for certain this person isn't just doing it once. They're celebrating it quite a lot. They are. So
I,
there is a culture
yeah.
around working and working, but
Yeah.
I
I,
don't
I,
think
I
I don't
agree
think
with
it's
you.
healthy. I personally don't think it's healthy.
Yeah, no, everybody's different. However, I would say it's all about balance, and it's all about balance for the individual. And this is where I work in a very holistic, bespoke way with people because what works well for one person doesn't necessarily work well for the other person. However, 60 hours a week is a lot. And unless that person is balancing that with lots of downtime in between and having ways of switching off, I think it is a challenge. I'm a business owner myself. I get it. There can be such pressures on us to be constantly doing. And when we're constantly doing, we're not essentially being, and just being present, being still, being relaxed and calm is where we get a chance to heal, where our body finds that natural rhythm, that natural balance, and our nervous system is calm and it's bringing us better digestion, better sleep, better energy, better mood. It can't really work effectively when we're constantly do all the time. So we need to find moments of being. So that person that's doing the 60-hour week, great, that might be working for them in the short term. However, this is where I think business owners are susceptible to burnout as well, because there's this pressure to keep going, or this temptation to be fearful about where the next business deal is coming from, or what if this happens, what if that happens, and then the overwhelm can set in, and then that can be a precarious place to be in terms of your health, because your health priorities, but certainly some of the people I'm helping at the moment, their health priorities have gone way down in favor of the work and the sort of fear of making more money or feeling secure. And the stress of all of that just impacts their health as well. So, yeah, it might work
Mm.
temporarily, but I would question in the long term. what's going to happen.
No, I'm glad you said that. Very glad you said that. Now, obviously, you're passionate about this topic. Where does that passion come
Yeah.
from? Have you always been this passionate about wellness, or was there a turning point?
Oh, definitely been a turning point. I've been passionate about it for quite a while, basically because my mum was ill for a long time and still has health issues. So I've always grown up with a mum that had health problems. So I've always been surrounded by ill health, and she went down the Western medical route. Quite rightly, there wasn't really much alternative back then for her. She went down that route, and I've seen, I suppose, the effect of that and the effect of Western medication giving her, unfortunately, more problems because the medications had side effects, and she's now taking medications to counteract those medications. But yeah, I mean, it's a before that, my journey with sort of Chinese culture and Chinese medicine, if you like, started at a very young age when I was about 7 or 8, and I did martial arts with my brother and fell in love with the legend that is Bruce Lee. Now, I'm showing my age here, everyone. But those of you who remember, Bruce Lee was an absolute legend, not only in martial arts, but he was a great philosopher as well. And when I got a little bit older, I realized that his films actually had these really important messages in them. They weren't just about fight scenes and good versus evil. They were actually having philosophical messages in there that I started to be intrigued by. So I started to study a little bit more about that, and uncovered the Taoist philosophy, which actually is wonderful, but underpins a lot of the principles of Chinese medicine. So as I got a bit older and the more intrigued I got around that, I wanted to become an acupuncturist when I was really young, when I was about 18, but I couldn't afford the training fees back then. So I went down a different route altogether, different path altogether, and became a civil servant. So still wanting to help people, still wanting to sort of make a difference in the world. um, Fast forward a little bit, a few years on, I didn't obviously make the impact that I wanted to, and I found that I was quite frustrated in that job. But alongside that, there was a backdrop of my mum's ill health again, and it was around the time that I'd moved away to get married. So I moved away from home, but my mum had just had this really big heart attack, actually so serious, at only 49 years old, that she had to leave work. She had to retire at 49. So a real game changer for her, and again brought into the forefront for me. I wanted to prevent that happening to me. So the preventative side was really strong for me, in that I want to be well. I don't want to see that happening for me, what's happened to my mum. And what was interesting at that time, I was having my own problems with depression and anxiety because I'd left home and I was in my mid 20s. I moved area. I'd not long known my husband at the time before we got married, because it was a long distance relationship. So there was personal things for me that threw me into a state of really an unsettled time. And I felt so disconnected with myself and lost and lonely, actually. You know, I was having problems at work, so I was struggling. I was watching my mum's ill health journey. I didn't tell her because I didn't want her to worry, the fact that I'd moved away from home and was really struggling. And I was watching her, and while I was watching her, she discovered natural healing for herself and became a Reiki practitioner, a Reiki master, in fact, and wanted to go down that holistic healing route because she wanted to do something to help herself heal and recover. So she inspired me, and I thought, why don't I give that a try for my own mental health, for my own struggles with depression? And I did. So I tried. Reiki healing was the first thing that I actually experienced as a natural healing treatment, and it was just so profound. It brought me out of what was a dark cloud. That's the only way I can describe it, because I couldn't see any color until it helped me become more connected with myself and in tune with my body, mind, my spirit, and what I really needed and what I really wanted. And that energy work is really important, because we are all energy. We are energy balls within a bigger energy ball. And that's really where the turning point for me was, because it was a personal transformation for my health. It helped me get more perspective. It helped me feel more balanced, more human, and just more alive. I felt this dullness for so long. And I really just thought, I need to tell people about this. I need to help people with this. And that was the big changing point for me. I really wanted to, I knew then that I should be doing something different. I shouldn't just be a civil servant. That wasn't my calling. And I actually did feel very strongly that I wanted to do something with this to help other people.
S- so many parallels that I could talk forever about. Yeah, so many parallels from what you were saying all the way through. Yeah, there's a lot going on at the moment with my family, which the same kind of conversations or same kind of thoughts have been going through my head about my parents and their health, and about how I don't
Mm.
want to be that kind of have those issues. Many thoughts going around in my head at the moment. And also, do you know what? I love the. I'm going to butcher the name. Is it the Dao Te Ching? Chung, the Taoist
The
book where it's
Taoist, yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I probably read it every at least 2 or 3 times a year. I have done for the last couple of years. Absolutely brilliant. And we spoke about Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee rocks. It's great.
He's
Um,
awesome. I love him. I love him.
yeah,
What a legend.
absolutely brilliant. But that was really good to give a bit really good context into how you got into it. And for the people who there's going to be people listening and thinking, do you know what? It's all good and well saying all this, but
Mm,
how could it help me? You know, because
yeah.
we have got a very kind of Western kind of point of view of, yeah, if we get ill, we do that, and preventative doesn't help that. And I think that kind of goes into the
Yeah.
three things that we wanted to talk about. I kind of nestle straight into that. So, what was the first thing? We've already alluded to it, um, but what
Yeah.
was your
Yeah.
first point that you wanted to really focus on? Because
My
these three
my
things,
first
folks, are
yeah.
really key.
They really are, and there's more than 3, but these are really big ones, these 3, and it's all around the first one is about taking responsibility. So, taking responsibility for your own life, your own well-being, your own future, and that was a big thing for me in terms of understanding what I could do to prevent something happening to me. Now, obviously, you can't prevent everything, but there is a lot you can do if you just stop, ask a question, and not be on that sort of autopilot of this is my life, these are my circumstances, there's nothing I can do, I'm out of control. If you stop and ask yourself a question, what do I really want? How am I really feeling? What is going to need to change to help me be vibrant, free of illness and disease? What is going to help me have more energy, sleep better at night, manage my stress? I think the thing for me is we are on autopilot a lot of the time. Many people are. And it's just giving yourself permission to stop, pause, ask yourself questions, give yourself permission to prioritize your well-being and take responsibility for it, because we are in a situation now where the NHS cannot cope. It is, forgive me for saying this, but I truly believe it's become more of a national illness service rather than a national health service. And yes, it can fix, they do amazing work. They do fantastic. The individuals that work there and the scientific stuff that they bring is just phenomenal. So I'm not dissing that. But what I'm saying is it cannot give us what we need to prevent illness. And it cannot give us what we need to find peace, to find harmony, and to really help us thrive. So it's all about taking that first step and saying, it's down to me. It's down to me. The answers aren't with the NHS or the government or anybody else. It's down to me. And that is the first point.
That's very powerful. And obviously, the NHS is a fantastic organisation which helps millions of people across the UK every day. You know, it's an amazing organisation. But when you put it into the context that actually that you can help yourself and you can focus on yourself and your well-being first, and then God forbid you have to use the NHS, it's not going to be for something that you could solve yourself. It's something that
Absolutely.
outside of your kind of control. So really interesting point. And it reminds me of a meditation that I've done. So listeners of the show will know that over the last few years, I've got into meditation quite heavily. So I meditate pretty much every day, at least once a day. And
Brilliant.
today marks my 168th day consistently. So I do
Wow.
miss a few days, but so far I'm on a
Love it.
168 kind of streak. But today's meditation was about doing nothing. It was about just being absorbed,
Mhm.
being in the moment, and actually just seeing what's around you, listening to what's around you, and just taking a break.
Yeah.
So for me, hearing you, plus that meditation, all of these signs are coming in. All of these signs are coming in.
They
You know, take a
yeah.
break, look after yourself. It is so interesting that you're saying this as well.
And actually, I think that's a good point for anybody listening is to take note of signs. Take note of signs and symptoms. Check in with yourself because when we are on autopilot, we're just too busy doing all of the time and not necessarily being. And when you're doing and not being, you're not listening. And I think it is just learning to listen. Our body will give us signs and signals at an early stage, sorry, of any disease starting to occur. And I think sometimes we just ignore it because we're too busy doing other stuff or consuming other stuff or not being present, not being in that moment. And meditation's fantastic. Great to hear that you're doing that. Well done.
It's
And
no,
congratulations as well.
thank you.
That's awesome.
It's something that I picked up about. It must have been about 4 or 5 years ago. Always
Mm,
interested in it, but I never understood how it would fit into my life. And I listened to a podcast, and it was someone was talking about meditation, and he said something that really stood out to me. And it was, you need, if you're going to start to meditate or actually do anything for yourself, you need to find the right time in the day to be able to do it. Because for for me, and this was the person talking, if I do it as soon as the kids are up, game over. But if I do it first thing,
yeah,
then it would work. And as soon as I heard that, I thought, yeah, as soon as I'm up, I'm up.
yeah,
But if I just start working in the kind of do it, if I do it straight away, so this was in the lead up to a big event. After the event, I decided, okay, I'm going to start every day. I never heard of the miracle morning at that stage,
yeah.
but I thought, you know what, if I start the day every day with a meditation, do a bit of Tai Chi, some movement, so meditation, Tai Chi. I'm going to read, and I'm going to have take dogs out for a walk, so walk in nature basically. And
Perfect.
at that state, and I thought, do you know what? I'll just do 10 minutes of that each day. And that whole took me 40 minutes. It didn't matter if I woke up at 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock. My first hour of the day would be that. And straight away, everything changed. And I'd spent probably 18 years of my working life. So before the ages of 17, I don't really count that because I was forming. But I spent the next 18 years on autopilot, started doing
Yeah.
that. And the last 5 years has been completely different. It's been revolutionary.
I love
It
that.
is
I love that.
meditation's great, but fitting it
I love
in,
that, and I love the fact that you've just said, "Well, I'm gonna set aside a short time," because I think some people think that change has to be really massive, and you know what? It's the intention that you put behind it. If you just say, "I'm gonna give 10 minutes," but you're consistent with it actually makes you wanna do more when you
yeah.
start to see the results, and it's just small changes sometimes that make a big impact. So I celebrate that, and well done, Gary. I think that's marvelous, and it's great that you
Thank you.
can feel the difference. That is the most
Oh,
important thing. What we feel is, and sometimes we don't even check in with that. So the fact that you're giving time for that is awesome.
it's something that I would never change. And when I first started it, to be fair, I hid it from people because I was afraid of what they were going to say. And I'm being
Yeah.
completely honest here. I was afraid of
Yeah.
people saying, "You do what? Why do you do Tai
Woo
Chi?
woo.
That's just small movement stuff. Why do you do that? Or, why are you stretching?" Because part of that I started to stretch as well every day. Again, relax the body and then form better kind of habits. But I started to do that. But first of all, I hid it from everybody, including the person who I live with as well. She didn't know anything about it really to start off with. Now, 5 years later, I will take myself off, do it, and then go back in and yeah, oh, you've meditated now, yeah, or I'm just going off to meditate, and it's natural. It's just part of the conversation, just
Yeah.
something that I do.
It's part of your
But
routine. Yeah.
I do feel it. If I don't do it, or if let's say I need to wake up straight away and do something straight away, and I don't get that part, I'm a bit itchy. My mind's
Yeah.
not focused,
Yeah.
so I do feel it.
And because it help your nervous system responds. Your nervous system
Mm,
responds. If we're talking sort of biology, spiritually, your energy is responding. We can talk different language. It means the same thing. You're feeling more balanced, more grounded, more peaceful. I mean, who doesn't want more peace? You know? I just think if you can find moments of that, and meditation is a fantastic way. It's not the only way, but it's a fantastic way of doing it because some people struggle with meditation, I have to say. It's one of those things that people imagine having to, chime and or chant and all these things. But there's so many different ways to get your nervous system relaxed, calm, and so for your body, mind, and spirit to find that balance. But I celebrate that. I love meditation too. It's fantastic. And it is
Brilliant.
about creating that time, isn't it? Taking the responsibility. That's my number one point. Number
That's
one
it.
point.
And we've been
Um,
talking to 20 for 27 minutes. Let's crack on with point number two.
point two.
What is your
Yes.
point two? Because it all kind of
Point two.
we have covered points 2 and 3, to be fair. We have, but
We
what is
sort of
point two?
have, but just to sort of clarify what the second point is, and it does segue wonderfully from what you were just talking about, is about connection rather than consumption. So maybe we haven't mentioned consumption yet, but I'm going to mention it now. And we are a society that consumes at such an alarming rate, especially since the internet came into our lives. Wonderful, by the way, the internet's fantastic, but we need to reduce our consumption of media, negative messages. We need to stop scrolling so much on social media. We need to reduce our consumption of food, alcohol, drugs, anything external. Some people are shopaholics, for example. They find a buzz, they find instant gratification in consumption. The issue with that is that it's transient. Once you've done it, the moment goes. It doesn't really give you true satisfaction or happiness, or it can happen in just that moment that you can't really hold on to. So it moves, and then you're back to, oh, right, I need to get something else to give me that instant gratification. So we're the issue that we have, and this is a real issue for mental health and happiness levels, because we are seeking all of the time for something external or someone external to make us happy and to give us what we need for our health and our energy, better sleep, whatever it is. We're seeking something else all of the time. So if we reduce consumption and concentrate on connection, meditation, you've already mentioned, a fantastic example, but really just being quiet, focusing on yourself, focusing on what your wants, needs, and desires are. And that's not selfish. And a lot of people I know feel guilty. They feel guilty. They feel, oh, I shouldn't be thinking about myself. What about this, that, and the other? And it's true. We all have family, we have businesses, we have friends, we have responsibilities. But your health is your responsibility just as much as everything else is. In fact, it should be the number one, because when you look after your health and you're connecting with your wants, needs, and desires for your health, everything else falls into place. You just mentioned it with your meditation. Life is different because you've prioritized, you've focused, you've created that time for connection. People need to turn off their phones. Don't take your phone to bed. Don't be scrolling and on your laptop 24/7. It's damaging. It is damaging our health. And there is something that you can do about that. And it's all about creating new patterns, it's understanding about why you do it in the first place and all of that. But that's something that can be done. And if even if you're taking your phone to bed, that is number one that you can start doing. Leave your phone in a different room, lock it in a cupboard, leave it downstairs. That is a really great place to start, not taking your phone so that you're constantly consuming. Your body doesn't rest, your mind doesn't rest when you're consuming. So choose connection. Go out for a walk in nature. Just stare at the leaves, stare at the sky, appreciate the cows in the field or the sun shining. Let it feel like you're alive in that moment. So practice being present, and you won't worry about what's gone before. You won't anticipate any anxiety or fear for the future, because when you're practicing being present in that moment, everything else disappears.
What what more can I say about that? That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The thing is, all of what you've said is I completely agree with, first of all, because that's some working in social media or working in kind of content creation where I am creating the content that people can absorb.
Yeah.
You've got to have a balance, and it goes back to your points about balance. It's okay to
Mm.
scroll if you want to scroll, but then also have that time where you can separate yourself from it. I can remember doing a talk back in COVID days about the 10 things that you need to do on social media, and 3 of those points were take yourself off social media, have regular times where you go onto it, and then regular times when you don't go onto it. And I can't remember the third bit, but it was literally a case of making sure that actually you have got the good habits in place to be able to do it. Because
Mm, mm,
yeah, you can spend all the evening kind of checking, falling down a real kind of a Facebook reel or Instagram reel kind of rabbit hole where you're just
Yeah,
watching video after video, and suddenly an hour's gone, and you have no idea
I
where it's
know.
kind of gone. And it's really
Absolutely.
easy to do because the platforms are trained and they've got sophisticated AI showing you the videos that are going to get you there. So if they think actually he's going to go in a second, I'll show him that other video that he hasn't seen from that one person that he really likes. Boom,
Yeah.
they will.
I mean, for sure, social media is great for your business. It's great for keeping in touch with people. I'm not suggesting don't do it. I think the issue is we do it too much. And I
Mm.
think that's where actually you can feel a bit out of control. Like you said, the time can just go, can't it, when you're scrolling? And these sort of algorithms that present different things for you to look at, and not all of them are positive, I have to say. And the issue that with overconsumption is that we're consuming unnecessary messages and negativity as well, which is damaging for our mental health. And it almost takes the choice away from you. If you're spending too much time consuming this stuff, you can then start feeling a bit out of control, fearful. Oh, all this stuff's happening in the world, all this, and I can't do anything about it. So it's focusing on the things that you can control is a massive thing. And that's part of being connected, though. That's part of you saying, what's going on here? That's not for me to worry about. That's happening. I can't do anything about that. So I won't consume that. Give yourself the choice. We all have choice as to what we consume, to what we think, feel, and what we do. So you have a choice to stop and to create positivity and happy moments in your life rather than this continual consumption that isn't always a positive thing.
Brilliant. Quick question to you: how often do you get into nature and take a walk and see what it is? How often do you tend to do it?
I go out every day. I mean, I have a dog to walk, so that does make me go out even when
Yep.
it's raining. But yes, I do. I go out every single day. And I also, this is leading on to my third point now,
Yep.
but I also practice gratitude. And part of that is appreciating the outdoors, nature. And the reason why my third point is to practice gratitude is it raises your energy frequency. And what I mean by that is we are all operating on different energetic frequencies because we are all energy, like I said before. You must have felt that when you've walked into a room and felt the energy from certain people. Some people as up here really positive, happy, and then other people that have a slightly lower energy, maybe not feeling great, maybe feeling unwell or not in a good place mentally or whatever. There's different energy levels. Practicing gratitude. So for me, I look out the window or I go in the garden and I might just talk to my flowers or look at the sky and appreciate the sky and the sunshine and the birds singing, and I tune into that. And again, it's about being present and appreciating that moment, but I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful to be alive. And I think what's great about practicing gratitude is it elevates that frequency so that you feel happier because you're actually appreciating everything that's great in your life. Because I think sometimes it's really easy to think about the things you don't have. So experiencing life from a place of lack can be an unhappy place, actually. If you're feeling that I haven't got this, I haven't got enough time, I haven't got the energy, I haven't got enough money, I haven't got this, I need to be here and I haven't got it. Whatever that is for different people. And I've been there as well. I'm not saying, this has been perfect. But the more you practice gratitude and really appreciating what you do have in life, it it boosts your happiness levels. You feel different. You feel like you appreciate the world and what you have. And that can be just appreciating a family member, a partner. It can be appreciating your health. It can be appreciating anything. So I would encourage everybody to do that with nature as well, because we have an amazing planet. We have an amazing natural resource. We have wonderful things happening around us all the time that we're not taking notice of. And when you do actually connect with nature and you practice gratitude as well, it's such a powerful experience. I mean, you may have felt it when you've been by the seaside, when you've been by the sea. Most people love being by water, or you've been at a mountain or a woodland clearing, and you feel a difference. You can feel it in your energy. You might not be consciously thinking about it. That's the difference. So, what I mean about practicing gratitude is being in that moment and consciously, intentionally being grateful and appreciating everything you have and everything that is in this world that is yours for the taking, yours for the appreciating, and yours for sharing with other people as well. So it just definitely brings more positivity to your life, to your day. It sets the intention. I do it on a morning. I would recommend doing it on a morning because it sets your intention for the whole day as well. And give it a go for yourself, I would just say, and see how you feel.
Now, I've got a question about gratitude, which I've never, you know, how you said that some people can't get on with meditation. I've
Yeah,
had the same relationship with gratitude. Not that I'm thankful, but what, because I am thankful of so much, but I've always heard, and I might have just kind of miscommunicated it or heard it right from the start, and that's been my kind of common thread. But you have to write it down. You have to write it down and have it stored somewhere. But what I was hearing from you was you can set your intentions and you can do that, but you can be outside and say thank you to the trees and the flowers and that kind of stuff, which actually puts gratitude in a whole different light for me. Now,
yeah.
that might have just been my miscommunication. I might have misheard that years ago and just thought you had to write it down. But
I think that
I don't know.
yeah, I
It sounds like
if I
gratitude
could
is actually something that you can do anytime, anywhere.
it really is, but I will respond to that because there is science behind writing things down because it's how your brain interprets messages. So it can be helpful for some people to write it down. Indeed, I do write mine down, but then I learn well from writing things down. So we're all different in how we sort of learn. But also, you could just say something out loud. You could just say, I really appreciate that fantastic blue sky this morning. The most important thing for me, though, is really feeling it. So feeling the gratitude rather than just writing it or saying it is the most important thing that's actually going to change your energy vibration and actually going to change your biology, believe it or not. Our thoughts and experiences have the ability to change our biology, our interior. So if you can really feel genuine appreciation, genuine happiness, putting a smile on your face and genuinely having that connection with, yes, that's great. That's really something fantastic in my life and I value it, then that is the biggest thing. That is what's going to change you internally, your happiness levels and your energy vibration. But you can speak it into a mirror, you can speak it out loud. When your brain hears something, it takes it when you're saying it and your brain is hearing you say it, your brain is recognizing that as a truth. There is some power in saying it out loud and there is some power in writing it down, but the feeling is the fundamental thing that you're after.
Brilliant. That's great. I could talk to you forever about this, and I can see a
Me
part
too.
two, part three kind of coming along. But I've called it a day there. But before you go, I want people to be able to connect with you. I want people to check out your website, connect to you on socials. So how can they? How can people get hold of you? And also, have you got anything that you could possibly give out to the audience, the listeners, the viewers, that would help them as well?
I do indeed. Thank you for that, Gary. It's been such a pleasure. I could talk to you all day as well. I know we don't have all day, but yeah, maybe parts 2 and 3 or whatever. Yeah, you can get me on mariebrobynwellness.com. So that is my website. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram as well. Just check out at Marie Brobyn Wellness or at Marie Brobyn. You'll find me on both. And I do have a free ebook if anybody wants to go on my website and sign up for that. All you need to do is just drop your email details in there, and it's a free ebook, which is all about natural ways to clear stress. So you can have that with my compliments, and I hope it helps.
Well, thank you so much for that. And all of those links will be put into the show notes as well. So just to make it as easy as possible, if you're watching it on YouTube or listening to it on your favorite podcast platform, just go to the show notes and they'll be there. Just click on it and take advantage and connect with Marie, because honestly, this has been a fantastic episode. I've learned a lot of it. I've got so many thoughts going on in my head. It's amazing. It's like it's just so. Thank you
Yay.
very much,
You're welcome.
and
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for your time as well, and folks watching and listening. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you again. I've just cut her off saying thank you. That's really bad of me, Marie. I'm sorry, but
Thank you, everyone.
let's take you off. Sorry. So yeah, thank you so much, Marie, for that, and thank you very much everyone for watching and listening. Please connect. Please connect with her, download her ebook, and whatever you do, look after yourself. If you heard anything else, if you heard so many kind of golden tips and kind of nuggets in that interview, but please take care of yourself. And until next time, see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.